in Module 2, Lesson 3, Percents and Decimals. So we're going to take percents and turn them into decimals and decimals and turn them into percents. This will be your quickest lesson in this chapter. So it says, move the decimal 2 places to the left. When there's no decimal, put it at the end of the whole number. So to turn a percent into a decimal, there's no decimal here, so I need to put it here. And I'm going to move it 2 spaces to the left. Now if you see that right there, I have a blank spot there, right there. That means I'm going to add a 0. So 0.08 will be our decimal. That represents dividing by 100. Our next one is 6%. We put the decimal in at the end, move it 2 spots to the left. So in this spot right here, we put a 0, 0.06. On this one, we put the decimal at the end, move it 2 spots to the left, 0.93. No decimal again, so we put it at the end. The decimal will always go at the end if there's not a decimal there. We go 2 spots to the left, and so it goes right between those ones, 1.12. We put the decimal at the end. We go 1, 2, so we get 0.24. And this one, the decimal is already there, so we don't put another decimal in. We use the decimal that's there and move it 2 times to the left. We put a little 0 there, so 0.045. That's how you turn a percent into a decimal. Now let's do the opposite. This time, instead of moving it to the left, we're going to move it to the right. When we move it to the right 2 times, that represents multiplying by 100%. Percents are out of 100, that is why. So we go 1, 2, and that blank will put a 0, so this is 20%. If you don't put the percent sign, I will count it wrong. We go 1, 2, 47%. This one, we move it over 2 times, 1, 2, 73%. This one, we go 1, 2, right here. Needs to be a 0, so we're at 50%. On this one, we go 1, 2. We have a blank spot, so we need to put a 0, 130%. Okay, let's look at our check understanding. I'm going to take this percent and I'm going to write it as a decimal. Remember, the decimal goes at the very end, so it's still a 14. We're going to move it 2 times to the left, so it turns into 0.14. The decimal goes at the end. We move it 2 times to the left, so we get 0.59. And our last one on this side, we put the decimal at the end, and we go 1, 2, so 0.98. Now we're going to take this decimal and make it into percent. So we're going to move it to the right this time. 1, 2, so 136, and we're changing them to percents, so we have to put a percent sign. On the next one, we're going to move it 2 spots to the right, 45%. And lastly, we're going to move it 2 spots to the right, and we get 4%. Okay, right here, you're going to make up your own for your classmates to solve. But I'm not going to do that right now because I already made up all of mine. We're going to move down to what do you remember? 36%. When we change a percent to a decimal, we put the decimal at the end. Move it 2 times to the left. So 0.36. We put the decimal at the end, move it 2 times to the left. 0.75. The decimal we don't have to put in there this time because it is already there for you. We're going to move it 2 times to the left. So 0.125. Now we're going to take this decimal and we're going to write it as a percent. There is not a decimal here, so we need to put a decimal at the end. Move it 2 times to the right. So we need to add 2 zeros. So 1,300%. There's already a decimal, so we're going to move it 2 times to the right. 505%. And our last one, we're going to take our decimal, move it 2 times to the right, and we get 0.8%. And that's all there is with this lesson.